Patrick Reusse, I've got a question for you. Where does a player claiming that he has a multi-week ear infection impacting his equilibrium fall for you as far as the excuses? Because TJ Hockenson has not taken part in team drills. Now, he's taken part in individual drills for weeks now, but he has not taken part in team drills. And I asked him about it after practice yesterday, and I just flat out said, is this involved with your contract? And he's like, that's not my focus, which really is not an answer to the question.
Okay.
So where does an ear problem fall on excuses for why you aren't taking part in drills with your team?
Oh, I did not realize that that we were still trying to sign him too, as well as what's he? We got one more year.
Last year of his rookie contract.
Oh,
so he's in
okay.
his final season, and he wants
so
a new contract.
basically, that's right. Detroit traded him too, right? They couldn't make a deal with him. He wanted more money than they wanted to pay him.
That was not reported at the time, but I'm beginning to surmise you just hit the nail on the head. Yes.
I mean, what other reason was there for Detroit to get rid of him if they otherwise not wanting to pay him? Because we didn't really give him. What did we give him? What did we give him for? Second round?
Second and a fourth or something, I think. Something like that.
Well, he's a very important ingredient in this passing game. So I don't know. Whatever motives a player and his agent have in the NFL, I support them anyway to get a better deal out of the NFL, because it is not easy. I would imagine he'd love to get the Hunter deal, right? Pay me okay for 1 year and turn me into a free agent. I don't know. It's a tight end, but that's not going to happen. So what do you think the going rate for him is? What's a good tight end, a top 5 tight end? That's got to be worth some money, right?
It's not as much as you think. We actually talked about this on Purple Daily today. I think Phil said Darren Waller of the Giants, now formerly of the Raiders, is what, Dex, about $18 million a year, 17 a year. So it's not that much. Tight ends have traditionally gotten screwed, but they have now been surpassed by the running backs who are ticked off that they're being screwed. But tight ends have always complained about that.
That's a lot of money. That's a lot of money for the Vikings right now, though. Right?
Yes. Especially with Jefferson and Cousins and Danielle Hunter. That's the thing. Like, who are they going to prioritize? That's the question. I
mean, they can pay him this year. I mean, it doesn't affect this year, right? It's the future cap that they're worried about to give him. Now, what can you do as far as a signing bonus ahead of time? Can you apply that to the full contract coming up? Can you give him $10 million now, but it doesn't count against you? I don't know that, there was always a deal like they pay guys in December, right? To lessen the cap that was coming up for the next year. As I say this, the NFL salary cap and the NBA salary cap, there are Nobel Prize winning mathematicians that can't figure out these two things. So the guy that, Oppenheimer couldn't have figured it out. Oppenheimer couldn't have figured out how to blow up the atom, but he could not figure out the salary cap for the NFL. I don't know, but I was not suspicious, but talking to you always makes a fella suspicious.
Mm-hmm. And, thank you.
Ear infection. That's You never know. The Vikings might be involved in the excuse too. Yeah, tell him he got an ear infection. Has he's not played at all then?
He has not played, but he still practices in some of the practice. He just doesn't do the team stuff. And I've never covered an athlete with a equilibrium problem who does some stuff. It's ordinarily like you're seeing specialists by this point.
Yes, yeah. You should have a very important doctor seeing this guy, right? Although they might have too. We'll never know. But but
the Vikings are involved because the Vikings are involved because the Vikings were the ones who have talked about this too. So you're right. Like both sides are on the same page of saying this. It's just suspicious, and I think that the Vikings are. Again, in the Vikings' defense here, I think what you said is spot on, which is they're probably trying to decide who the hell they're going to pay and how much.
Yes. Do you want who's more important to them next year, Hunter or Hockenson? I suppose it obviously depends on what kind of year Hunter has, right? If Hunter plays 8 games, it's
Then
going to be an
Hunter.
easy decision to make.
Right.
Yeah.
If he plays 15 games and has 17 sacks, then you got problems.
I
Then
think
you
the
got
difference,
problems.
Patrick, is age too. Because if Hunter and Hockenson were the same age, it's no competition. It's Daniil. But Hawkinson's like 26 years old. Hunter's 30-ish. And so that I think the difference is that alone. But the Hockenson camp is smart enough to say this is going to be the contract that we cash in on. Like if they take a bargain deal here, they'll never make it back. So I get their side too.
Is basically the whole NFL in the same situation as the Vikings, unless you're one of the bottom 5 or 6 teams? Is everybody spending a cap and got to figure out how to, who they're going to pay and who they're not, and they're going to all screw the running backs, obviously. But I mean, this can't be a unique situation. We always talk about, they got cap problems. Well, the whole league's got cap problems, I would think. That's because you're screwing the favorite players so bad. The salary cap should be $300 million, and then nobody'd have cap problems, right?
This is why every team is trying to find a rookie quarterback because of exactly what you're talking about. That's the whole incentive is if we can get 5-year team controlled, cheap quarterback who's actually good, we can spend elsewhere. If you can't, you're sort of screwed because if you start with. So my question is this: if Kirk comes back, okay, if Cousins comes back, and he's not going to come back for cheap.
No,
at that point in time,
$35 million minimum, right?
So how does that impact the Jefferson contract then too, which goes up by the day? Like that's not getting cheaper unless he gets hurt. So how does that impact that as well? So like there's a lot of accounting things here, and part of it is the Vikings never want to be bad, and so they're always fighting this fight to keep guys. And at some point in time, to what you're talking about, you run out of the ability to do so because of the cap.
It is a crime that they have the cap problems, though, with the amount of money they're making, the amount of money the NFL is making. It's the reason you have cap problems is ownership greed of the entire thing. I know they have 60, 70 players around, but with the amount of money they're making, they should have unlimited, ability to pay. They should be paying people like the NBA does because of money. I mean, a guy like, especially playing that sport, those two guys should, Hunter should be making 25 and the other guy should be making 20 because of the way with the amount of money they bring in. But, they cap problems, man. We got to get rid of them. We got cap problems. So Hockenson, though, that was the best move they made all last year, getting him in here for out of the blue. And they got you know what? I hope he doesn't have an ear infection and equilibrium problem. I hope he's just screwing with them. That's what my hope is. But, we've all had an earache in our life. I guess you can, if it's worth putting pressure on a team to pay you, then I can't see them. So if they don't pay him, then they can They can
franchise him
next year or something. Yeah. Which is, what do you think that is for a tight end? 15 or something?
What, Dex? We said 13.
Yeah, it's 13. like 12 or 13. It's not
so
much.
Next year it'll be 14 or something like that. So all right, well, yeah, that's good. It's good to have. It's good to have a little turmoil in training camp. That's what, it was much easier to have turmoil in Mankato because it was more confined and it was easier to deal. But
yes,
it's a little turmoil. It doesn't hurt anybody. So have we announced that absolutely nobody's going to play again this weekend, right?
We don't announce that. We don't announce that, Pat. We Saturday at noon.
They used to play. Oh, that's right. They used to play those games on Thursday when the season the next week. But now you got all kinds of Saturday at noon. That is a weird time for an exhibition game. Who was telling me? Somebody was telling me yesterday, Reavers or somebody, that that an hour before kickoff on Saturday night you could get tickets for $2.
Yeah. Preseason games are very cheap. Yes,
Declan
yes.
told me. And can you imagine for a noon game how cheap they're going to be? Oh, I bet you. Look on there right now. Don't. If you're out there wanting to go to the game, hang in there. Hang in there till Saturday morning, baby. You get your StubHub printouts for $3 or
They
wherever.
should
Plus
pay you to go.
Plus the fair. I mean, the fair's in town too. So I mean, there's not going to be as many. The demand to go is not going to be high.
There won't be.
I don't know if the fair crowd is a Viking crowd. I don't know. I don't see those. The fair crowd is a unique crowd that you're competing with Lake Como, or so you're competing with Como Park.
I mean, but
or something.
it's a Saturday and it's going to draw 1 million people. So I mean, there's definitely a portion of people that would prefer to go, that are Vikings fans that will be there.
Mm-hmm. Well, are you guys going at all?
Yes.
Saturday, 1:00, Carousel Park. We're going to have a purple daily show during the Vikings game because nobody knew it was a noon kickoff. Full disclosure, nobody realized it was going to kick at noon.
Well, are you going to have a little TV there for people that can watch the Viking game while you're doing that? Are they going to have to watch? Ladies and gentlemen, watch it on your phone. It'll be fantastic.
That's what I'll be doing.
Yeah,
I'll have my phone out.
Yeah. That's a complication to say the least. You know what, I should go to that noon game and just write about the excitement of the event. That would be fun, and just then put a lot of importance in everything you see. Write it like, I'm a little worried about the offensive line here. I don't know if Udi's going to hold up or not as their starting right tackle and stuff like that.
You should do the old Patrick trick. Go talk to fans and say, why the hell are you here?
Yeah, I could do that. Something like that. But then again, I could do the really smart thing and stay away.
Which I'm confident you will do.
Yes. If it was the Metrodome, I'd go. But that place, I got to leave now to get my fat ass there. You got to walk so far. It's unbelievable. I hate that place. I'm the only guy in the Twin Cities that hate it, but I can't stand it because it's too big. It's too big.
It was just voted the best NFL stadium in the entire league in an athletic poll. SoFi Stadium was second, but this was voted number 1 in the entire league, including
by who?
I am outraged.
By who?
The Athletic, I think it was a poll of their writers.
Is
that correct?
Yep.
Well, that's really important. Who cares? What are they like? It's not a good view. If you're a writer, you're up there in the boondocks. It's not a good view. What do you like about it?
I don't know. I just
like
saw that they raved about it.
It's not like the good old days when you can go in that Met Stadium and drink after the game was over. If you're a writer, you don't have a drinking room, free drinking. So what the hell do you like about it?
It's my opinion that if it's an indoor stadium, I don't, they're fine. Like, it's fine, but it's not like Target Field, right? Like a ballpark's got nooks and crannies and special. Yes. They're unique. They're like people. They're unique. A big football stadium is just a big,
big football
Lambeau's
stadium.
A little bit special because it's got history and it's outdoors.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, but it's got an element. Yeah. I don't know. I just my equilibrium's off on the rare occasion I'm in there. I just have a hard time. It's so far away. I don't bring binoculars, and to digest it. I have a hard time digesting the action from up there, and I'm not yet into the habit of looking at the scoreboard to see what's going on. Which is it's kind of like going to a Taylor Swift concert. You go there to look at the scoreboard, right? And that's what you should do for a football game. You should just watch the scoreboard. In no sense. I find myself always looking at the field, which accomplishes nothing. So anyway, I'm not a big fan of the place.
Pat, if the Twins were playing a playoff game today and they were starting a left-handed pitcher, which they struggle against left-handed pitching, is Alex Kirilloff, presuming he's healthy, in that starting lineup?
I have to see how long he's been playing, but yes, it probably would be. I'd get him over there at first base just because I don't want to have Donovan Solano playing first base. I could, you'd have to have him in the lineup somewhere, but he ain't a real scoop machine over there at first base if he made a bad throw. He's a hack. It's funny how that can be a bad defensive position. It's the easiest position to play, but they've been terrible at it for 2 years now. Kirilloff's okay. He's not great, but he's the best of them. But yes, I want him in the lineup because he will hit a ball to left center field with 2 outs and 2 on, and if he can get a hit against a tough pitcher, so I want him in there. He obviously was hurting for some reason that last week or 10 days because he started striking out 3-4 times a game, and that was not him at all. He puts the ball in play. Yes, I said that if he was healthy, he'd hit in the middle of your order for 10 years, but it's pretty obvious that he's never going to be he's never going to be a 140 game a year guy. That doesn't look like it. We were talking about this yesterday. That's just amazing how their young players keep getting hurt. It's not normal, is it? Not that. I mean,
No.
Look at Cleveland. Now Cleveland's had a couple guys hurt this year, but last year he played the same lineup 60 days in a row. He just wrote the lineup in, and Jose Ramirez is always hitting second or third, and it doesn't. I don't get it. I don't think we have that much better MRI machines than everybody else. So I don't realize. I don't understand what's going on here.
Protect Brooks Lee at all costs. Bubble wrap.
Yeah. That's true. I don't think he hasn't had any injuries, right? Coming up, I don't think nothing more than 2 or 3 days. He hasn't had any long-termers. So where's he play? Third base next year, and Reusse plays center.
It's a great question. Mm-hmm. I don't know what they're gonna do.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's another left-handed hitter though. They're a little lefty hitting. They're a little too lefty already. So, well, it's.
Is Polanco back?
No.
Oh no, I don't think so. I don't think so. I don't think they're going to renew him unless they feel like they can renew him. He's cheap though. He's only 10 or something.
Yeah,
10.
It's a cheap option.
10. So maybe you bring him back and then try to trade him. But what was with him the other night? That was the sorriest looking. It looked like he knew when he came to the plate he was going to strike out. I wouldn't be surprised. Right? Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised if he's back at the DL today. I don't have any reason, but he looked like there was something seriously wrong with him, vision or something. He's got the big eyes,
Yeah,
and
he does have.
On the other night, he had sad eyes. He had sad big eyes. It was like, I know I'm going to strike out here. So I don't know. So they just got a bunch of infielders, so they probably won't bring him back. But maybe for 10, they'll bring him back and think somebody else. They can trade something for him. So, it's a pretty cheap deal, and to trade him, to have him on that deal when you trade him should make it easier, right? Somebody will take him, won't they? I don't know.
I would
maybe
think so.
Miami will take him, team him up with Louis.
If he's gone, Pat, you need to, the day the season ends, tell Julian take 2 weeks off and then show back up in Florida.
Start taking ground balls
and start taking ground balls. We don't need to swing a bat till March. We don't even care about swinging a bat, but you got to start taking ground balls because they've got it. I think some of the things can probably be fixed, but they got to work on that.
Well, they aren't. We don't know how about Reusse is at third base. He's been okay, I guess. But you got the great shortstop. When Michael Taylor plays center field, you got a hell of a center fielder, and Kepler's fine in right field, and Wallner's gotten by in left field, but they got a lot of flaws defensively too. The other thing I want to see the last, how many you got? 38 games or something. I want Jeffers to catch 25 of them.
Yeah.
I want Chubby to catch 13. Right?
Chubby.
Let's
Meatball and Chubby have been doing pretty well lately. I don't know what you're talking about.
I want Jeffers Jeffers their most improved player, and as those of you voting for the Twins awards, the Baseball Writers Awards, Jeffers is your most improved player. Don't look around and come up with some exotic, thing. Reusse Lewis or something. Go. Jeffers is your most improved player easily this year.
All right, sir. We will
I
talk
should have
to
went
you.
to. I should have driven to Milwaukee for these two games.
I'm surprised you. I was going to
Surprised
ask you
didn't
about that.
either.
I'm surprised you didn't. That's an old Reusse
Yeah.
trip.
Yeah,
Day game.
Take the wife along.
And the bride likes going too. She likes
Yeah,
Milwaukee.
I'm surprised
So
you're
they
not the
get-
fister
and
right
isn't-
now.
Wednesday's a noon game, right?
Yeah,
Wednesday's
tomorrow's
an
a
afternoon game.
noon
You could
game.
come right home.
Hell,
Yep.
you'll be back. You go down. You have dinner on Monday night at Mater's. Tuesday you go to the ball game. Wednesday watch the game and come home and be perfect. Why did they
Before
go?
they
I don't
move.
know what's wrong with
Before
me.
they move and the White Sox now are threatening to move. I mean, before all these teams leave, you got to go see them one more time.
Oh, White Sox? I didn't see that. White Sox are gonna move.
Reinsdorf is threatening to move out of the ballpark and threatening that there could be a chance for relocation. I guess it is hilarious.
Well, it is really hilarious because they have nowhere to go.
I know.
Nobody has baseball has no. They don't. Nashville is there, and they want it as a
Expansion.
The White Sox have done this before, though. They were
Yes.
going to go to St. Petersburg, and what's his? See, he built that damn place. What's his problem? What's his?
He's a first-class jerk is his problem.
Yeah. Do you think the fact that you had a team that should have won 88 games that's going to win 65 had something to do with the poor attendance this year, Jerry? Jerry can't be with us much longer, though, can he? God,
That's what I'm wondering. No,
He's
I think
damn
that's
near 90, isn't he?
Yeah.
How about Mike Veck buys the White Sox and comes back on the white horse like his dad did? That'd be
Disco
great.
Demolition Night too.
Disco Demolition.
Let's
What
do
can
it.
we blow up? What can we
it.
blow up? What music don't we like? No, we can blow it up. Ed Sheeran record night. Blow
There
up
you go.
Ed Sheeran's records. That'd be
All right.
fantastic.
We got to run, Pat. We'll talk
Goodbye.
to you in a couple of days. Bye.
Reusse Unchained, powered by our friends Judd at Power Lodge. You can get yourself a nice new Miller Marine. It's boating season. Just because maybe summer is quote unquote winding down does not mean it's time to put away that boat. You can still go to Bennington up at the Power Lodge.
Oh, that is exactly right. And guess what? Congratulations, because Power Lodge has hit a major milestone, Declan Goff. 25 years of bringing action and excitement to the state as your go-to destination for all things marine and power sports. And to say thanks, each of their locations will host a Community Appreciation Day. Join Power Lodge in Brainerd, Ramsey, and Onamia or Sauk Rapids for great food, amazing prizes, giveaways, and unbeatable special pricing. For grand prizes, they'll be raffling off a variety of Polaris ATVs and snowmobiles. Check out powerlodge.com for the powerlodge.com.